So I like this point. Okay. So we are still talking about Odysseus, right? This is page 310. The boast is like an identity card. He throws at Polyphemus's feet. Okay. It pierces. I still don't know who Ulysses is, son of Laertes, but okay. Guess that's That's not That's Odysseus' name, I guess. Okay, so more keenly, he may be traveling, but Odysseus is not a migrant. Man of many resources, worldly wise, skilled in diplomacy, lover of stolen wealth and sadistic games, Odysseus always has a home to return to. Wherever he goes is civilization, to the despair of everyone else. Polyphemus remains at home, but he's been made foreign in his own home by Odysseus, a barbarian, a savage, someone whose entire world can be invaded, stripped for parts, then abandoned. Right? Because Odysseus sees Polyphemus and he calls him a barbarian. He calls him a savage. Again, like what colonizers do. They come onto your land and they say, "You're the problem. You don't live here. Let me run you out." The rest of Homer's story could have been well finished thousands of years later by a Spanish admiral, talking about another land entirely, yet the tale continues practically without a hitch. Weapons they have none, nor are acquainted with them, for I showed them swords which they grasp by the blades and cut themselves through ignorance. They have no iron, their javelins being without it, and nothing more than sticks. Though some have fish bones or other things at the ends, they are all of a good size and stature, handsomely formed. It appears to me that the people are ingenious, and would be good servants, and I am of the opinion that they would readily, very readily, become Christians, as they appear to have no religion. They very quickly learn such words as they are spoken to them. If it please our Lord, I intend at my return to carry home 6 of them to your highness, that they may learn our language. I saw no beasts in the island, nor any sort of animals except parrots. That's Christopher Columbus, or Cristobal Colon, talking. He sounds a lot like his ancestor Odysseus, son of Laertes, man of many resources. You'll notice it's only after Colon talks about carrying home a few natives as souvenirs that he is suddenly reminded of beasts and animals, as if to add in a cheerful tone, "While we're on the subject, anyway." It might also be said that Homer did not write any of this, of course. Samuel Butler, his English translator, did. Samuel Butler, author of Erewhon and The Way of All Flesh, was born in England, and like many middle-class whites of his generation, he immigrated to the new settler colony later known as New Zealand. In September 1859, the name of the ship he arrived on was called Roman Emperor. Wow. Okay, so I'm getting it now. Homer in the book 19 of the Odyssey describes a scene in which Odysseus explains his own name, given to him by his grandfather Autolycus. Butler's translation has Autolycus proclaim, "Call the child thus, I am highly displeased with a large number of people in one place and another, both men and women, so name the child Ulysses, or the child of anger." In the most recent translation of the Odyssey by Emily Wilson, the first woman to translate the epic into English, she translates Homer saying, "Name him this, I am disliked by many all across the world, and I dislike them back, so name the child Odysseus." So as you can see, these are 2 different translations. It's notable that Butler's colonial era translation leaves out the implication that Autolycus is not only displeased by the world, but the world is displeased by him. So again, this other translation, it says, "I am disliked by many across the world, and I dislike them back." So again, displeased by the world also doesn't like him. Wilson's translation, on the other hand, preserves that nuance, because he also says, in Butler's translation, "I am highly displeased with a large number of people in one place or another." So all he says is he's displeased, but again, like Wilson, you get it. Odysseus is a name that concatenates anger, suffering, wrath, hate, pain, a name that intertwines both pain one meets out to the world and the pain endured in the world. Okay. So, most of all, it's a name that emphasizes hate not just as an abstract emotion, but as a relation, concrete, and as an inheritance, traceable. Autolycus is passing down a specific kind of generational wealth, namely his own experience being in the world, that of hating others and being hated by others, that of causing pain to others and being pained by others. Okay, so she uses this as like the last page of the book, and she uses this story to talk about Polyphemus, which is the Cyclops. And we never give any time spent on the name Polyphemus. We know he's the son of Poseidon, the great enemy of Odysseus in the epic, but we don't get the generational origin myth of his name, its meaning, its weight. We don't know his grandfather. We don't know what he did or what he was known by, what pain he invited, what pain he dealt out if he lived his life by pain at all. In the world before Odysseus darkened his grandson's door. So, a translation of Polyphemus can be much spoken of, many rumored, or even famous, abounding in songs and legends. I wonder what stories Polyphemus might have had to tell us, what the epic might have looked like from his vantage point, what any other one of those manifold voices, rumors, legends, and hymns may have had to sing to us. So, in this ending, she's describing how a lot of history is wiped out to not really be heard from again. And we can see that happening in stories that we read. And that's why it's good to have like a decolonial mindset, or even like a mindset of finding the truth, something like that. Decolonial mindset, or even a mindset of. Okay, so this explains it. Treaty comes from the Latin trahere, to pull or drag, often violently. This is page 117. Eventually, its meaning of deal with, handle, especially in speech or writing. Example, the way I am treating, the empathy and art in this essay, which is like writing about it, right? Which originated in the early 14th century, led to its use in medicine, which began in 1781, with treat used as a word to mean heal, cure, or apply remedies. The history of the word treaty begins with a violence, then moves through something that deals with it, often writing, after which becomes something like healing, a remedy. All writing, then, all art is a kind of treaty between the reader and the writing, between the art and the world, between the fire of the past that burnished us and the fire of the present that consumes us, and the fire of the future we might forge. Honor the treaty. Which is to say how when we write something, we cannot ignore the past, and we are forging the future, and we are also in the present. Like, I just think everything is happening all at once, and that's how this page is describing it. And yeah, I just think it's super deep. I love it.